because when I came home after 8 years, I paroled out to my brother's walk-in closet.
I still got 3 years of parole left.
Welcome to From Felon to Fabulous. I am so happy about this guest for tonight. So Isabel is sick. Terrence has been traveling. He was in Jamaica. So a little bit jealous there because I'm sitting here in negative 12 weather with snow on the ground. And he's back in Florida now, but he was in this fabulous place. And Izzy is under the weather. So you just got me tonight. But let me tell you, that's okay because Dr. Lotus Riche, she more than makes up for it in personality. Gonna absolutely love her. She's a dear friend of mine. She's on the From Felon to Fabulous board, and she's got a book out. Let me share this commercial with you real quick before I bring her up because I want you to see exactly what's in store.
You know how a lot of people say that being successful is a great thing? Well, it really is. Yet having a successful mindset is the thing that propels people to their ultimate success. Now, many of us get stagnated. So, have you been stagnated and stuck from realizing your dreams because of fears and uncertainties and your mind telling you what if, and you never move into action? Well, you don't have to be stuck anymore. You can break free from the mind's default framework of backing down and freezing on the track to success. When doubts and difficulties arise, I've got something for you. It's called Harnessing Your Thoughts, Take the Reins, Control Your Life, and Win. And this new book is going to help you to cultivate critical thinking skills and harness those thoughts that you need to take back your control of everyday situations and win. So come and get your book on Amazon July 4th, 2023. It's coming to you to help you enhance your mindset like never before. This powerful book is going to give you the strategies, tips, and tools that you need to really harness your thoughts, take the reins, control your life, because it's time for you to win.
Welcome, Dr. Lotus Riche. I know I played the old commercial. I hit the wrong one, but that book is fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Woo woo! I'm on with Brenda from Felon to Fabulous, and I know it's going to be a fabulous show. So thank you for having me here this evening.
You know, everybody always wonders about our relationship. We get asked about it all the time. And I first met you probably at an event somewhere, and then we had some connections, and Dr. Michael Freeland, Jill Reynolds, just kind of meeting up. But then you and I talked, and I found out you were a correctional officer.
Yep.
And I thought, wow, does she know my story? And when I shared it with you, you gave me nothing but love. No judgment. You said, hey, I've seen people from where you are, and let me tell you, you still have a life ahead of you, because that was a couple years ago. It was not just yesterday. And we just
look where you are today.
Yeah, look where we are today, because you've been a big part of that. You've been a big part of that. So we have some people in the house. Hello, Angie from DC. Heather Davis is watching. And let me tell you, I met you and Angie actually. In well, I've met you several times, but I had dinner with you guys here in Kansas City when you guys were rolling
Exactly.
through.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Yes.
And it was great. It was great. So I was happy to meet you then, and I'm more happy now that we're doing things together to help people who are behind the wall, as Steve Harvey used to say all the time when I would listen to the Steve Harvey Morning Show. He would talk about the people behind the wall as I would be driving in to the prison at about 5 in the morning to start my shift. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Isabel remembers you from St. Louis saying, "Bounce
Hey,
back, baby, bounce back." I remember
bounce
that
back,
comment.
baby. That's
Right.
right.
That's right. And collaboration is where it's at. And
Exactly.
we have done a lot of that to the point where you have agreed to be on the From Felon to Fabulous board. Can you tell me
Yeah.
why?
One of the primary reasons is because after working in the prison system for 7 years, I realized that, and not only that, but having family members who were incarcerated and who are incarcerated, it's it's earth shaking to realize that a lot of our family members that are incarcerated are not being treated right. They're not receiving the right foods, and their health care is plummeting. And we wonder why these things are happening. Well, I got a bird's eye view of it from inside the system. See, it's different when you're outside because you don't really know. But when you're inside, it's a whole different story. And I've been fortunate enough to work at 3 separate prisons. Okay. And working at these 3 separate prisons, at first I specialized in youthful offenders. I went to they had this kind of like university for prisons, and I went there so I can get certified to become specialized in youthful offenders. And then I also worked with the adult population. And from prison to prison, one thing was pervasive, that there were guilty people in there, and
Mhm.
there were non-guilty people in there. But the common denominator was that they were all spiritual beings having a human experience. They all had some type of situation that landed them there. And many of them wanted to do better so that they can change their life for the better. And so I saw From Felons to Fabulous as a fantastic way to help people, whether they're incarcerated or even on the outside, take what they used to be and turn it into what they are designed to be.
And you said it first. You saw guilty people and non-guilty people. But to me,
Yes.
that common denominator is people. They're still
People.
people. Now,
That's
granted,
right.
there's some people that never need to come out. I will go there. I am not anti-prison. I am not anti-cops. I am all for whatever needs to happen if it's done for the right reasons.
Right.
But I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. You've seen a lot.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I also know is when you come out, it is your choice. It is your
Yes.
choice to make better decisions. It is your choice to live a better life and to not go back.
Right.
That is what From Felon to Fabulous is all about. And we are here to help people do just that. We want to see you do better. So if you're in a situation where you've just come out or you've been out for a couple of years, but you don't feel you are quite where you need to be, that's
Mhm.
okay. These are stories of hope and encouragement. And I'll tell you, it's work. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
change is not going to happen overnight. But
Exactly.
you even before you were into all of this, you've always had a concern for people. You are a
Yes.
global strategist. Talk to
Yes.
us about that.
Well, being a global strategist is helping people all around the world really strategize and harness their thoughts so that they can really take the reins of their own lives. That's the key, their own lives, and win. Not focusing on what's happening for Joe or Teresa or somebody else, but focusing on their own lives so that they can either restructure, recreate, because
Mhm.
many of us have to recreate ourselves over time. Just like when many of us come out of prison, we have to recreate ourselves and restructure the way we think so that we don't fall into the hands of recidivism. And so being a global strategist has given me the opportunity really to travel all around the world, to meet people from so many different ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomical backgrounds. I've had people as far as like prime ministers jump on my show and view me and chime in. And I've had people in countries that I can't even pronounce chime in. And as a global strategist, it helps me to strategize, to get businesses to connect with businesses like ours, like From Felons to Fabulous. And if other people have different businesses, no matter what they're into, being a global strategist, I help them make that strategy and make that shift so that they can connect with people around the world and come out of this mindset that they can only do business in the United States, because that's just not true.
It's not. And you can just the way that technology is today, you can learn so much just from sitting at home, watching
Yes.
things virtually.
Yes.
I even have movies that I watch that are from the UK. I'm learning, their
Exactly.
lingo. I've read a lot of books that take place over there where we have police officers, they have DCs, so we learn the different
Yes.
stuff, but they're still just people. I interviewed
Exactly.
somebody a couple years ago from the UK, two of them, and one from Australia on
Mhm.
From Felon to Fabulous when we first got started, and we were just kind of doing some interviews. And it's weird plus encouraging to hear how people do it in other countries. But the thing is
Yes.
no matter what country they're in, they're still people. They still have to
Yeah.
overcome. And I
Exactly.
interviewed a guy by the name of Dean, and he became a multimillionaire after prison.
hmm and
Doing
many
no,
people do. And
yeah,
it's so interesting because you mentioned the UK. I was on a show earlier today. I was a guest on their show in the UK, Truth Runners, and I've got to tell you, what you said makes perfect sense. We're all people, all we're all having these experiences, and many of us, we have the same pain points. We have the same challenges. And we can't get so mystified by the flashiness of life. We have to really be grounded and understand that it doesn't matter if you're a felon or if you're already fabulous. We've got to come together and face the challenges that are messing us up, that are keeping us bound. And we are
that is
stronger
right.
together. And that's one of
And
the reasons why
we
we
are
try to
stronger together.
be fabulous. Say again?
We are very strong when we are together.
Yes.
That's why in times of war people divide to conquer, but when you
Exactly.
unite it is so powerful. And when you unite in love, what
Yes.
else can there be, and that's the thing. So you and I talked, you shared some stories with me of
Mhm.
some of your incarceration days while you
Yes.
were in there as a guard.
Yes.
So one of the things you mentioned to me is you said, I felt like I was in there with them because of the long
Yes.
shifts. The only difference was I got to go home at night
Yeah.
or home after your shift.
Right.
Talk about that, leaving people and seeing, what carried home with you.
So first, let me say this: that term guard, I cannot stand that term, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because, and I know that's a term that is universal, but um, I've always preferred officer to guard, because it's almost like talking down to another human being. Oh, I'm here to
Mhm.
guard you. When in many cases, those who are incarcerated are guarding the officers to make sure we go home safe. A lot of people think that it's the other way around, but I can tell you some stories. But I said that I felt like I was locked in. I was doing time as well, because theoretically we are doing time. For
Mhm.
7 years, I had about 100 men that worked for me. I worked in all male prisons, and I saw their highs, I saw their lows. I remember when they got letters where family members passed away. I remember when many of them would go up for parole. Some of them would not make it. I remember writing a letter for an inmate after talking to the warden and my supervisor, and said, "Hey, this inmate is coming up for parole, and he works for me and with me, and he's asked me to write him a letter, and I would like to write him a letter. May I have your permission to do so?" Because you never want to do anything without getting the blessing. Not
Right.
only did they give the blessing, they also wrote the letter as well. And so this young man who was incarcerated for over 20 years of his life, about 23 years to be exact, for a mistake that he made as an 18-year-old in college, went back home. He did something and they put him away for it. He spent most of his life in jail. His father passed away while he was in jail. His mother was older and ailing. And I said to him, you got to get out of here. So, of course, I wrote that letter. But being in there with them, it gave me a sense of not feeling sorry for them. But I felt a sense of how can we make the system better so that when men and women go into the system, they come out better than they went in.
Amen.
So I was able to see that as a person that was in there as an officer, I could leave. So I thought anytime I wanted. But the fact of the matter was, if something happened in the prison, they could lock them gates. You can't get out. If someone doesn't come to relieve you on time, are you going to go home? Probably not, because they have to have somebody there to stay until the next person comes. So you're actually doing time too. But the difference
You really
is
are.
you're doing time, but your time comes with a pass. And the pass is your uniform and your credentials that allows you to get out the gate. But sometimes some of us have given up our pass because we've done things while working in the prison system that was against the rules. And then we ended up wearing the uniform instead of the other uniform with the pass. We wore the uniform without the pass. And so I really felt for a long time that was good for me to understand what Steve Harvey meant about being behind the wall, even though he wasn't behind the wall, but I was behind the wall.
You saw it
and cry.
Yes.
You know,
you saw it. What's the worst thing you ever saw?
One of my guys had got beaten up really, really bad. And he came to work. And I was just appalled because they beat him because of who he was. They beat him because he stood up for himself. They beat him and beat him. And somehow he managed to get himself together with a bruised face and a bruised body and still come to work because of something I said and the example I gave. And that was an example of commitment. And he was committed to his job. He was committed to the other men that worked with him, who depended on him as a part of the team. Not as a prisoner, not as an inmate, but as a viable part of the team. He was the one of the spokes that the wheel needed to really roll right.
Yeah, but he was an inmate.
Yes, and he was an inmate. But above all, he was a man.
Absolutely.
And so when I saw this, it bothered me. And of course, he didn't want to tell who hit him. But then he decided, I'm not going to take this. You know, they say snitches get stitches, right?
Yep, they sure do.
But what bothered me was because I was going to leave. I could get out, but he couldn't get out. He had to stay there. I could get out. And that made me realize that I wanted to share with people how valuable their freedoms are. Don't go there if you don't have to, because let's face it, prison is no place for anyone.
No.
And a way that I found that out, Brenda, is because there was an inmate. He worked for me as well, but he also had worked in the kitchen, right? And this gentleman said, Miss Riche, I was up in the kitchen one day. I said, Miss Riche. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you know that they feed us food that is not fit for human consumption?
Mm.
And he said, you don't believe me, do you? And I said, yes, I do. Because I believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt, no matter who they were or where they are. And he said, come up one day and I'll show you. I said, okay, I'll be up on such and such a day or whatever. So I went up there and he went back to the freezer and he pulled this big box out and he put it on the line. And for those of you that don't know what I mean, the line is the cooking line where, you know, the chow line when they go up and they get their food. So he brought the box out to the line, right? And he looked at me and he did like this. And I looked down, and just as bold as the nose on your face and mine, the wording said, not fit for human consumption.
Mm.
So
And that's terrible, but it's true.
it's horrible. It's horrible because what human would want to give another human food that is unfit for human consumption? Our viewers out there, would you eat food that says not fit for human consumption? If you would eat that food, put a 10 in the block, in the comment. If you wouldn't, put a 20 in the comment. If you would not eat food that says not fit for human consumption, if you wouldn't give it to your children, because these people in prison is somebody's children. If you wouldn't give it to your son or your daughter or your niece or your nephew or your spouse, put it in the comment. Put the 20 in the comment if you would not give it to them. And this is what happens.
Yes, and we're expected to eat it. And we wonder why our health gets thrown in the toilet. And then commissary and canteen, whichever way you want to call it, every facility is different.
Exactly.
It's all processed. Everything is processed. So those people who are there for a long time, a
very long time,
not been healthy. Yes.
And then you have I have a family member who's currently incarcerated, matter of fact. And this family member, I was sending them something. And I want to share this. And if you don't want me to share this, just tell me no.
Nope, you're good.
So I sent something to a family member, right? Over $100 and some. And there's a company out there. They send food and commissary to various prisons in New Jersey, prisons in San Diego, and places like that. And the name of the company starts with a K. I'm not going to say the name, okay, because we don't want them to ban this broadcast. But the name of their company starts with a K, the parent company. But the company that everybody knows, it starts with an A, okay? A is the first letter in the first part of the company name, and S is the next letter in the second part of that company name. Those of you that have family members that are incarcerated and you sending them commissary, you know who I'm talking about. So this company took my money. I called them and I was like, hey, listen, my family member didn't get their commissary. What's going on? They said, well, we did a random, it's like this random thing. We're checking them to protect you, to make sure it's you, so nobody has stolen your credit cards or whatever. So I say to the person, I said, well, it's me. I have my receipt. This is my number, blah, blah, blah. When will this person get their commissary? And why haven't they got their commissary? This was back on the 23rd of December, and now it's the month. It's almost a month, right? And so they couldn't explain to me why. They couldn't explain to me why this random thing was going on, because I'd never heard of it. And mind you, I told them I've worked the prison systems, done all kinds of investigations. I've never heard of this. So then, because I wanted to speak to their manager and their supervisor and ask them what was going on, Lo and behold, somebody canceled the order. Now, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've worked in the prison system. I've worked for the Department of Defense. I have credit cards. They're in good standing. So you did a random check. What are you checking for? That's what I asked them. What are you checking for? Okay. What is the criteria? They couldn't answer that. Lo and behold, they tell me, well, call back in two or 3 days. I don't know why this happened. There's a problem. I don't know what's going on. I said, okay, I'll call back. I called back in 2 or 3 days. They canceled the order. But I haven't gotten my money back yet.
Right. I was going to say, did they give it back?
No. So when I looked up the Better Business Bureau to report this company, lo and behold, the Better Business Bureau says that basically they're predators. They're preying on our families. That's sending commissary to our families that are incarcerated. This company, the first letter, they have two words. The first letter starts with an A. The second word starts with a capital S. Their primary corporation starts with a K. Okay. And this company has been flagged on many occasions. Many people have reported them to the Better Business Bureau of what they're doing to families and to those who are incarcerated. So the reason I'm saying this, folks, is that many of our family members, many of them may be guilty, and many of them may not be guilty. But in any case, if we send them something, do you think they should receive it? Do you think we should lose our money because we're looking out for our family members so that they can have healthy things to eat? I'm saying this because those of you that's out here, don't go back. Those of you that's out here, remember that you have family members there. Please don't put them out of sight, out of mind. Because when you put them out of sight, out of mind, anything can happen to them. Yeah.
You know, I witnessed that. So my family did not. Yes, my family, I had books, I had mail, I had commissary, I had phone time.
Yeah.
I had it. But I witnessed people I even had visits every week.
Yep.
I never missed a visit unless I was in the hospital or not there for something.
Uh-huh.
But I saw no phone time.
Yep.
No commissary money. Yep. No visits.
And it's
no
devastating.
Mail.
It's devastating.
Yes. And I just saw their hope leave.
Yep.
You know,
and you know,
I just the hope leave.
And I saw that too while I was there. And when I would go to work every day, and I would tell this to the other officers and the inmates, it's our job as people who are working for the states to bring joy, not to bring tyranny, but to bring joy to the place, to bring hope. Because sometimes the only hope many of these people that are locked up receive is the hope that we bring. It may sound sad, it may sound foolish, but it's the truth.
And let me tell you, the correctional systems lie to the families. They don't really tell them what's going on with you medically wise. If your mindset is good, they tell you they have all these programs. Now, some might, but the majority of them don't. And stay tuned, because I actually have the warden of the place that I was in on an interview. And he left because he was the fix-it guy. He was the guy that went into all the bad prisons and fixed them for CCA, which is a federal holding prisons and detention centers.
Yes.
He said, I can't do this anymore because they're lying to people.
Of course.
They are not delivering what they promise. And we are about making life better, turning around the corrections.
Yes.
We are trying to correct, and there's none of that going on here. So he quit and he started his own nonprofit about giving the money back to the resources for the inmates.
Right. And rightfully so. I was on a phone call with a person who's incarcerated this past week, and they were telling me how they had to take cardboard and put at the bottom of the door because they got mice and rats in these prisons. And then
They do.
when the guards come in, the officers or whomever, they go in and they take the cardboard from the doors, which was preventing the mice from running in. So
That's right. And you know what a lot of people don't also realize is those same conditions, even though we wouldn't talk about it to the inmates and it's that they don't care about the inmates, they also don't necessarily care about their employees because they have to work in those same conditions.
exactly.
When there's no heat and air, they have to work
Right.
in those same conditions.
Exactly.
So it's not just the inmates, it is the entire system.
Exactly.
It is the entire system. They don't
And
care.
what happens is it's a spiral, a downward spiral, because many of the officers that go there, they're working in these prison systems, they're fed up with what's happening. So then they become angry and disgruntled. And who do they take it out on? They take it out on the prisoners.
That can do nothing about it.
Exactly. And then when the prisoners begin to write grievances, what do? They move those prisoners to some of the worst places. Okay.
Yes.
They take their commissary. I was recently told that some inmates got some commissary, and shortly after the commissary, they did a shakedown. I used to do shakedowns, so I know what it's about. But never would I take somebody's stuff unruly, step on their food or things like that. And this is happening in these prisons, and people don't want to face it. But you got prisons like Bergen County and all kinds of counties all over the United States. Now, here's the thing. I'm not just talking about bad officers. I'm talking about bad leadership, okay? Because it's a trickle-down effect. So a lot of these inmates, they have to succumb to this. They have officers that are bumping these inmates. They call it shoulder checking them. And they have a lot of these officers that are saying anything and everything to these inmates and cursing at them and stuff like that.
And you're not allowed to yell back or touch them.
No. And you know, the thing is, and I have to say that I'm really, really grateful because I worked for 3 separate prisons. And in all 3 of those prisons, I had great leadership. I can say that. And I don't mean just the people that I work directly for. I'm talking about the wardens in some of these prisons, because I saw some of these wardens that would really get involved with situations. And the primary thing, I think, is because they still had a sense of the human side and the spirit of them, understanding that although people have a number, they are still people. So
they are still people. And you do have a number in the prison system.
Exactly. So I just feel like we just got to do better. We have to treat each other better, whether we're incarcerated or not incarcerated. If we are what they call ex-cons or whatever, we have got to find a way for all of us to deal with each other in a fabulous way. And that's what fabulous is all about.
So let's go there. What happens after prison? That, my friend, is up to you and your mindset. You can sit there and you can wallow and say, oh, I can't get a job because of this. And oh, I don't have family support because of that. And you would be right. It is hard. It is absolutely hard, but it can be done. You have to be willing to get down and get dirty. You have to be willing to take that job that's going to hire you and show them your worth. And I guarantee you, when you do that, man, look at Sarah Baston. She's one of our BTBY speakers.
Yes, she's amazing.
Yes, running from the law, finally it catches up to her. She does about 6 years. She's fat when she goes in, and she comes out physically fit, has written a book, and she's crushing it. Bought her own home.
Yep.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not only did she do that when she got out, she was already doing it while she was in.
She was in.
And this is what I share with people. Yes, you are incarcerated right now, but begin to do things that's going to make a way for you when you get out. She started teaching people physical fitness while she was incarcerated. And I think that Les Brown said this, or Dr. Eric Thomas said this: your gifts will make way for you. I've heard them say it, and that is true. It doesn't matter if you're in prison or under a rock, your gifts will make way for you. And all those things I said earlier about families and stuff like that, I'm sharing this with you because we don't want to see you in prison. But for those that are in prison, there is hope. There is hope.
That's right.
And you
You
can
don't have to go back
and be what you decide you want to do and be. Look at Sarah. She's a clear testimony. Look at me. I'm a testimony. I worked in the prison for 7 years. And you know what it taught me? It taught me civility.
Oh,
it
yes.
taught me to understand, to not disenfranchise a person because of where they are at the moment.
Absolutely.
Because you know what, Brenda? Many of us are a traffic ticket away from prison. Many of us are just a occurrence away from prison. Many.
You know, I just experienced something today with one of my clients. Wife made a phone call. He gets picked up and get arrested. He wasn't even there.
Wow.
They don't necessarily look into things. Not only did she call the cops on him, she called the cops on his young son. So now he had to go in and get bailed out before he could even tell his truth. That follows people. Now, is that also needed? Of course. If it's needed, absolutely. But there's so many sides to it. This whole, for me, I was asked questions about people I didn't even know. And had I had answered them, they would have went with them and it would have been lies. Just to try to get me to get somebody else that they wanted. And hey, we'll give you time off. I have been out longer than I've been in, but I did write books while I was in there that are now published. So you can have a life. It is a mindset. Like you said, it is a mindset.
Yes. And this is one reason why I just absolutely love what you're doing. Because my book, you did a video when I was coming out with Harnessing Your Thoughts, Take the Reins, Control Your Life, and Win. I absolutely love Felons Are Fabulous because we are cultivating an environment where people can harness their thoughts, where they can change some of the negative thinking that they're doing, that they can change the conversation that they're having on the inside to make it a more fruitful conversation on the outside, so that they can grow, so that they can learn, so that they can be whoever and whatever the Most High is calling them to be.
That's
and
right.
I just believe, I just believe Felons Are Fabulous is the gateway, if you will, to help people move past their mistakes and move into the reality of changing those mistakes and doing better, and also helping someone else, because that's what you've done, Brenda. Since you've been out, you've helped so many people by shining light on their story, encouraging them, giving them platforms to speak on, showing them that because you are making it, they can make it too. And that's another huge reason why I'm a part of From Felon to Fabulous.
And it's greatly appreciated because you do accept people for who they are. There's so much that is in your mind that people start to doubt themselves, which is why I speak about who rules your kingdom and wear a crown, because I too fell into that. I had insecurities and doubts, and what are people going to think, and who wants to listen to what I have to say, and I'm never going to have my life back. I'm never going to have what I want again. I'm going to have to settle. And that's all lies. That's all lies. And the other thing is, people think that they need to get the past life back. Let me tell you, I don't want that. I had the life and the house and the cars and the job and everything that went with that, even the money. And you know what? That's not important. It is not important. Living a happy life is more important than any of those things, because none of that can buy it for you.
Happy and healthy, because
that's right.
you
have to create that.
Yes, we got to create it. And our health deteriorates from what we think in many cases, of course, along with what we take into the body. But, I absolutely love what I think Miss Elizabeth said earlier. You have to take those dreams and you have to give it legs. You have to give those dreams legs so that they can walk and so that they can grow. And you have to really breathe life into whatever it is that you want to come together to create that happiness like Miss Angie is talking about.
That's right. That's right. It's important, but again, only you can control that.
Yes,
Sometimes I have a wonderful family. My family's very supportive, but sometimes your family can be your biggest naysayers.
that's
You
true.
can't do that. How dare you think that? Why would you be able to do that? And that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
They're still your family, you still love them, but you don't have to share everything with them. Those
exactly.
type of people, let them see it, show it to them.
Yes,
Show them what you can do, and I
yeah,
guarantee you they'll come back, and then it's, "I knew you could do it all along."
yes,
Those are my favorite things to hear because that is success, and the best revenge is success. I don't care what
yeah.
anybody says. You don't have to
And
hurt people, just go out there and do it.
exactly. And the fact of the matter is that sometimes people never come around. And sometimes they don't come around because they can't see it for you. They can't see that dream. They can't see the journey. But the journey, the dream, the purpose was given to you. And
That's
sometimes
right.
along the way, you may be incarcerated along your journey. Sometimes you may um, be challenged and you don't know which way to turn, but it is your journey and your story has power. And people all around the world need to hear your story because there's something to be learned from your story. In fact, let me tell you something. Sarah, that you talked about earlier, Sarah Basin, she uh, got her certification as a physical trainer.
Yes, she
And
did.
my spouse is becoming a physical trainer and has traveled all around the world and has done a myriad of things. But you know who I called before we decided on two separate uh, companies to get certified through? I called Sarah
Absolutely,
because
because she's
she now,
already been there.
exactly, and she
Mhm.
has the specialized knowledge. And because Sarah did it, so can you.
That's right. That is so true. We have something coming up in Houston. I'm going to play a
Yeah.
commercial for that. Becoming the best version of yourself is a journey. When you believe in yourself, you can move mountains. Let's start your journey. Come to the B2BY Houston experience. All you have to do is take the first step, and we'll help you along the way. Are you ready? Change starts now. Becoming the Better You, Houston, Texas. ComeChangeYourLife.com. That's ComeChangeYourLife.com. Are you ready for that one?
I am so ready and I am so
Mhm.
excited. I tell you, it's going to be phenomenal. If you have not gotten your ticket, gotten your plane flight, or even if you live in town, make sure you connect with somebody, tell them about this because this is going to set your year on the right track.
And Come Change Your Life is the website for that, comechangeyourlife.com. And it is the parent company of From Felon to Fabulous. We figured that if everyday people can do this, then so can felons, which is why we've started this show, because we also want to see felons succeed. Not only do we want to see them succeed, we have coaching. You can hire Dr. Lotus Riche as one of your coaches. She will transform your thinking. We have people in place for you to get to the next level of your life. Because after all, isn't that what we all want? That
Yes.
is what we want. We want that for you. Now, we can't do it for you, but we can sure help you. We can
Yes.
help you get there. Not only can we help you, we can get you to the right people to keep you there.
Get you to
See,
that.
sometimes you have to change your scenery, and that's
Yeah.
the people around you.
And here's the thing too that Brenda and I and Terrence, I think we had this conversation that from felon to fabulous and BTBY, we're looking to help felons and other people as well secure jobs that want you there, that's not going to hold against you that you have a past, because let's face it, we all have a past. And
Mhm.
for those of you that might not want to work for someone else, we have people within our organization that can help train you on how to be an entrepreneur, on how to go out and get what you need and get what you want. Okay. We have all types of courses, many of us, that can
Mhm.
help you do that. But not only do we have courses, we have a network of people
That's it.
that we can connect you with.
And that it right there is wealth.
Yes.
That is wealth. We also take it into the schools. We go
Yes.
into high schools, into middle schools. We also have an event coming up in Topeka, Kansas, where we are bringing schools
Yes.
in. So, what if we could reach the youth before they became felons? That is huge. So
Exactly.
watch this commercial on that. That
I
is,
love it.
I am going to be, if I can say that anything I'm going to be most proud of my time on earth is first my own children, and second making a difference in the youth's lives. And we are doing that all
Yes.
over the country. So we will have representation there from Felon to Fabulous and Becoming the Better You. Not only are we going to have uh, our community there, we're going to be making a difference. Making a difference. What if we could keep them out of prison? Chuck Doyle went to prison at 15.
Of
Prison at
course.
15,
Yep.
a men's
Yep.
prison, not juvenile detention. There's something wrong
Mhm.
with that. There's something wrong with
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And Angie says, continue to look in the mirror to assess your success and challenges. I'm telling you, she's so right there, because if you want to make changes, it's got to start with you. Nobody else is going to do
Exactly.
it for you. And that's why
Exactly.
we're giving you the hope and the encouragement here for that. So we've got about 4 minutes left. Give us some nuggets to take away to go home with.
Let's make history. Come join us. Come join us in Texas. Come join us in Kansas, because the very lives that we save may not just be our own, but they may be the lives of people that we love and care about. Brenda said this so powerfully. We have to ignite the youth to do something different, to step up to the challenge of difficulties that they face every day, so that we can help prevent them from being incarcerated on any level. And then the second thing is that for those who are behind the iron wall, we absolutely care about you. We absolutely want to see you become the best you that you can possibly be. Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep holding on. And if you have a family member that's incarcerated, don't forget them. Send them a letter. Send them some commissary if you're able to. And most importantly, join with us. Join the BTBY. This is a movement. And under this umbrella, we're sprouting other movements that's going to help make this world a better place. I challenge you to do that. Thank you.
And it is a challenge. Stay tuned, because we have got so many episodes coming out that we've got a prison guard who actually was a whistleblower and had to go into protective custody because he
Yes.
was telling the truth about other prison guards who were killing and harming and bullying inmates. That was ridiculous. And he had to go into WITSEC because of that. So you just never know what's happening. Yes. And you just
I've been
never
there.
know. Yeah, absolutely.
I had to testify. Well, let me put it this way. I represented the inmate. The inmate told his story, and the officer actually told an untruth. And I had to uncover the untruth. And I told the officer, I don't lie to inmates, for inmates, or on inmates. And I don't lie to officers, for officers, or on officers.
Good for you.
And they didn't like me, but guess what? The truth must stand. So that's going to be a powerful show as well.
It really is. It really is. And I was actually able to MC 2 of my prison officers' weddings. You want to talk about relationship?
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
yes.
awesome.
So it is possible to have balance. So guys, thanks for watching. You can go on over to, what's your website, Lotus?
You can go to www.lotusricheignitesyou.com and check us out. And definitely go to Facebook, go to YouTube. Go ahead and ring that bell, subscribe, and follow me along so you don't miss a thing. And check me out on all other social media. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more. Or do you want to be the person that's helpful, that soothes, that loves? Because you can still stand tall and be as big as you want to be when you are this person.